Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I wanted to review the price performance on the secondhand market of the Rolex GMT-Master II. This is the reference 126720VTNR. It's sometimes known as the Lefty Rolex GMT or the left-handed GMT-Master II. And this is a watch that Rolex unveiled this year, 2022, at Watches and Wonders. And it was a mixed reaction, by and large, I'd say positive, just questioning really, though, whether or not there was a high level of demand in the market for watches designed for left-handed individuals. And that's with the crown on the opposite side to accommodate wearing on the right wrist. But spoiler alert, yes, much like every other Rolex professional series, this watch is doing extremely well on the secondhand market. But let's look at some specifics. Now, this watch's secondhand data wasn't really available until May 12th, so we're not dealing with a very long time period here, just a little bit over a month. As such, I've taken more snapshots in my data set to sort of use the same number of data points I would normally do in a video, but we're looking at basically an every other day examination, which is a bit excessive, but I figured we would go ahead and we'd do it that way to fill out the chart. So on this graph, you can see that we've got a y-axis starting at the $0 level so that you can more easily see just the overall sheer dollar amount that these watches trade for. Now, the retail price on this watch through a Rolex authorized dealer is $11,050. But as you can see, it started the market at about $45,700. It goes up for a while, and then you can see that there is a decline. So it has been trending downward, but nothing particularly aggressive. So let's go ahead and let's zoom in so you can see the changes a lot better. As I noted, starting dollar amount, and this is from May 12th, 2022. It's the earliest data I saw for a secondhand sale of this watch, $45,728. It actually hit its peak price only a few days later on May 18th, and that was at $51,401. Now, since then, it's pretty much fallen. We did see a fairly significant drop in the pricing at the end of May. And then since then, it's continued to go downward, but not as aggressively. The current price as of June 17th, 2022 is $45,585. And that is actually the lowest price that it has been at. So it's the valley of the chart. So if we think about changes, the change versus peak value at the current price is a drop of 11.3%. If we go back and look at the change from the starting price, it's essentially at a break-even point right now. It's technically a loss of 0.3%, but this watch still trades over threefold on the secondhand market as to what you can buy it for from an authorized dealer, should you find one actually willing to sell it to you. So what are my thoughts on the future performance of the Lefty GMT-Master II? I think, given the volatility in the equity markets, particularly that stock prices are going downward, the fears of recession, and at least here in the United States, the inflation that we're trying to get control of, I think that this watch will continue to fall. It's such a new watch, it's really hard to say. Like, we don't know what it would get back to. Obviously, since it's come out, it's already below what it's ever been at. But we're talking about a watch with about a month's worth of data. So there's just no real telling. I don't know how many of this version of the GMT Master II Rolex is going to build this year. And again, most people probably aren't huge fans of the crown being on the opposite side of typical, but clearly so far that isn't mattering. The Rolex brand is what's mattering. So I would say that I do think the watch will continue to fall downward. I don't think this watch is going to fall below retail or anything, but we might still see a few more thousand shaved off of it over the next year or so. That's the direction, at least currently. But as we can see, so far, the rate of decline has really slowed up considerably. And I think that's just going to show what I think a lot of us have inherently already known, which is while an inflation might drive down hype pieces and might impact a number of watch manufacturers, the Rolex name may be relatively inflation immune. Again, I have to qualify that because hype watches was a key part of that. And we have other information I've shown in other videos, such as the Daytona. We have been seeing Rolexes come down. Just the used market still remains higher. If you have any thoughts about what I covered, or if you'd like me to look into a particular watch in the future, just let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I'll talk to you on the next one.